Hey folks, so welcome to my review of the Hidizs or Hidizs, the MM2 model, which is a new release. And it's quite interesting in two ways. One, as it states here, it uses a dynamic driver and a magnetostatic driver, so that's quite cool. And they've got tuning vents, as you can see just on the image, kind of that little thing in the centre of the housing. That's also replaceable, so they actually have two things which are quite unique. And yeah, as usual, full disclaimers, this is actually sent out to me by the company, so thank you very much. I do appreciate it. I was not paid to do this video, and all thoughts and opinions are my own. And yeah, let's just dive straight in. Just a closer look at what we get. So I mentioned in the beginning, so it's a magnetostatic driver. I like they label it exactly what it is, not like an electrostatic or anything like that. And a dynamic driver. Obviously this vent here, which we'll see in a bit, is interchangeable. Just information there. Mine is the silver one, which we'll see in a bit. Information there. So yeah, this is probably the more important part in English. So the model is the MM2. It's still a part of the Mermaid series. Information, so DD, customized units, blah blah blah, magnetostatic. So it's a 10.2mm dynamic. It says it uses macromolecule polymer diaphragm. Yeah, so I'm quite curious of this, because this is quite a bit different to the normal single DDs. 3 pairs of tuning valves, so you got treble, balance and bass. Appearance uses an eco-friendly resin body. Frequency response is 20 Hz to 40 kHz. Sensitivity is 104 decibels. 18 ohms, so the sensitivity is a little bit lower than normal. Rated power is 5 milliwatts. Just the cable that's included, which is 1.2 meters. It's a 2-pin 0.78, 3.5 connector, 10 grams, and all the included bits. So it's good to see they included a lot, you know, information on the packaging, which is useful. So relish music, beauty in the details. Exactly that. So let's have a look at these. Choose the world you hear. Let's have a quick look at these. So like they said, silver. DD right there. Obviously the Magneto is normally in there. It's kind of like a combined unit. Hard to see if you can have a... It looks like. So it's kind of a combined unit. And obviously this is the part that's changeable. So like I can screw it screws off, as you can see. I'll leave that on a bit so I can so I don't have to lose it. So there's the metal nozzle with a lip. So quite interesting. It's always good to see when companies release something you know, a bit different. Okay, nice little carry pouch. So here we are. So on here is treble and bass. So bass is the red ones, treble is the dark silver, and obviously I guess balance is on. So yeah, metal, yeah, it's actually metal, so quite curious to see how that works out. Just the thing that you don't eat to stop the moisture, and yeah, 2 lots of tips, so kind of a wider bore. You can see there, the left is like normal bore, the right one is wider bore, so that's quite curious. Cards, user guide, we'll have a look at that in a bit. And in here should be the wire. So that's the wire, seems alright. Obviously I'll stop the video and I'll unravel it to see what it's like, but it should be okay. So just a really quick look what it says in the guide. So it's like the Mermaid series. So it's the same as the one I reviewed before. It's the same kind of lineup. Information there. Best outputs, basically uses better files, wearing guide, exchanging cable, maintenance there, precautions. Obviously things to protect your hearing. Obviously it says basically that is kind of common sense, but that's the numbers that they state. And that's it. So rest is just in Chinese. So yeah, so look at the cable. So just a straight 3.5 and metal. Seems a really nice kind of solid connector, which is good. Strain relief. Cable feels a little rubbery, but it is of good quality, so it should be fine. You only should really need to swap it out if you really need something like balanced. Obviously Y split. Chin slider, which works, yeah, it works okay. I'm not sure the core count of this, it should state it on the box. And yeah, so good to see it's got a colour on there, because if you got like impaired vision, you won't say that's L. And obviously red dot for the right one. It's kind of cool. I like that. The little things are important if your vision is not actually not that good. And that's the connector type. Just 2-pin, I guess. And yeah, so I'm going to put a good few hours on the MM2. I'm going to try all the events, the tuning events, and see what they're actually like, because I'm quite curious. Obviously not one of the driver type, but a DD and a Magneto, obviously with the tuning event as well. So it's quite, these are quite a curious pair. So yeah, I'll see you in the future. So yeah, so finally on to the review of the Hidizs MM2. As you can see, silver model. So obviously let's have a good look around it. If you aim. So the main thing about this is the actual vent, which is super easy to screw out. This is the balanced one, for example. I've also graphed all three. Obviously we'll get to that. So that's it, very straightforward. And that's it. So obviously I presume in there they've used different you can just see through there, different kind of thickness or whatever you want to call it. So, and it does make a noticeable difference, but we'll get to that in a bit. So let's talk about comfort. I found these very good. You can tell I do use a generic shape, is probably the best way to describe it. Obviously you can see what it is. It's a combined dynamic driver Magneto kind of combo. It seems to be on the top part. I think it's a 6mm. The information is on the box, obviously in the beginning part of the video. It's all on there. But yeah, the same build quality seems good. There's the brand website there. Very simple. So quite a unique thing with the vent system. It's good to see things different. A lot of times it's through the nozzle. So yeah, so comfort was good. Sensitivity and power, I didn't really have any issues. They didn't really seem picky. They're a little bit harder than normal, but I wouldn't say anything like beyond that, basically. So micro details is actually good. I think that's the Magneto's job, trying to do all that. It's there. I think it does what it's supposed to. It didn't seem really that much utilised, which we'll get to in a bit. So tonality is a little bit off, I think, because of the Magneto driver. Obviously normally pure DDs are the best for like the kind of the natural sound signature. So anything with an extra driver there that's a non-dynamic, typically it can sound off. Normally armatures are the worst for this, and sometimes piezo's, it can have a different kind of like, it can sound metallic as people call it, but these don't really have that, but it's a little bit different with the Magneto driver. So yeah, so stage imaging I thought was both okay. I think the Magneto helps a little bit with the little details, you know, between your ears, but it seems okay. So the main thing about this is sound. So I'm going to overlay the graph now, and as you can see, quite a difference. They do seem to normalise like 900 Hertz, but up above that and below that it's a bit different. So I've overlaid all three at once to make it straightforward, but they've all got essentially sub-bass roll-off. As you can see, you can pick your poison. So Treble's got the least bass, then Balance has got a bit more, and then the bass one's got more than that. Mids, again, it's like a switcheroo towards the middle. The bass one does have the best, well, I wouldn't say best, it has the most thick low end. It's got a lot of bleed, as you can tell. This all depends on what your genres are. So if you're a bass head, you'd pick the red one, Balanced. Sorry, it depends what graph you're looking at, but if you're bass head, you pick the biggest. Treble, you pick the lowest, so and so forth. and say like into the mids, it is V-shaped. They're all V-shaped one way or another. This depends on what vent you want. Most of my listening was done with the balanced, but I did obviously try both for a couple of hours as well afterwards, and the same kind of thoughts really. So again, you pick what you want. Do you want more elevated upper mids, so you want more forward vocals? The bass one, obviously vocals are a little bit pushback, obviously not too bad at all, because none of them have that reset. Nothing's really recessed on these really. It's just you get less. So the singers, any vocalists, was a little bit less on the bass one, as you can imagine, compared to the treble one. It just has more, and obviously the same thing for the lower mids. It's reversed. So yeah, kind of a key thing, quite a big difference, as you say, as it's not from a nozzle, it's from the vent at the back. So yeah, quite curious. So treble, say these are V-shaped. Personally, I prefer the bass one because it's a little bit smoother at the lower treble. Again, the same thing again, the balanced one's always in the middle because it is balanced, and obviously the treble one is the brightest. I prefer out of these the bass one. It's a little bit easier to listen to. Again, the treble one, vocalists are more forward. Certain instruments that sit in that range are more forward. Again, this so much varies in your library, but then they all have treble roll-off, so which is kind of odd. I was expecting maybe more. I was expecting more treble presence with the Magneto. Obviously, how this is tuned, it's not the case. And that's it really. It's kind of it has a big dip. So, but the good thing about this is no sibilance because it's obviously tapered off. Again, and then it comes up a little bit with a treble. You know, past the 6K, and it comes up a bit. I would have hoped for a bit more treble balance, really. So a little bit less lower bit, then a little bit more balanced. You know, like from 4 to 6, just bring that up a touch, not too much because you can get fatiguing. Kind of a different tuning. I was expecting, even with the balanced one, more balance, if you know what I mean. So yeah, quite a different one. Good. These are good. If you like V-shaped sets, these are the ones for you really. As you say, it's quite a bit different. And yeah, so probably won't make the video too long. So conclusion is these are V-shaped. Whatever you pick which one suits you. I picked the bass one because it's a little bit more smoother in the lower treble, and it kicks hard for my electronic library that I tend to listen to. Obviously you can pick what you want. I'd prefer if the sub bass didn't roll off. I think it needs a little bit more work in the treble, like a little bit less lower treble and then probably a little bit more to cover that dip, because some instruments have attack but some sound roll off, like they don't have they're not really as clear, so I presume they sit in that dip. But they're not a bad set. I also don't know the price of these. This is like I said earlier in the video, it's part of the Mermaid lineup, so it should be under $100. I don't know, unfortunately, because I got these before they're for sale. So yeah, if you do like a V-shaped set, these are good for you. If you want something a bit more balanced, then they're probably not for you, but at least you can check the graphs and have a good look and see what it's like. But yeah, they're kind of different, and I like that. I think they might need a little bit more work again, but this is the first version they've ever released, so it's not too bad. But yeah, if you're a V-shaped boy, these are ones for you. Obviously it's good to see companies trying more unique things. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and take care, and let me know in the comments if you want to know anything specific.